I feel like I owe you guys an apology because it's been a while I actually shared an overpowered tactic on Football Manager here on this channel, but don't you worry, in the next few days, in the next few weeks, I'm reviewing 3 tactics now, especially for the new winter update match engine on Football Manager, so I'm going to let you guys know when those tactics do come out. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when those tactic testing videos do come out here on the channel. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at a special tactic from one of my newfound friends on Discord, DawidPL. I think it's David with W spelling. But this tactic is quite special. You can see that Brighton actually finished in the Champions League places, and then Danny Welbeck was able to get 35 goals using this tactic. That's how good it is. But I went on to test out this tactic with a couple of other teams: Leeds United, Hajduk Split in Croatia, AS Monaco, Sassuolo in the Serie A, Lazio, and Lech Poznan. I think Lech Poznan is in Turkey as well. But looking at the tactics so far, this is the way the tactic is shaped up. It's a 4-1-4-1 system, but with 4 attacking midfielders. And we're just going to go, before we go through the tactic in detail, we're going to look at all the other teams that went on to test out this tactic and see how we did it. We know that Brighton went on to do quite well. Leeds United, on the other hand, they finished in 13th place, but I'm not quite specific where Leeds United were expected to finish at the end of the season, maybe 10th, mid-table. But currently we're struggling to try and avoid relegation. But looking at the team stats overall, City had the best or led the highest amount of goals with 90. Brighton and Hove Albion had the second highest with 90 goals. Man City had 91, sorry. Most possession, we can see that Brighton isn't even in the picture, so the tactic isn't a possession-based tactic per se. Looking at the least conceded, Brighton aren't in there as well. So for a team that scored 90 goals, they did go on to concede a whole lot of goals. Most points per game, 1.89 for Brighton and Hove Albion. Hajduk Split in Croatia were expected to finish in 2nd place, so they finished 1 position off where they were expected to finish, so not quite good. But looking at the competition overall, they got knocked out in the Conference League qualification stages, but they went on to win the Croatian Cup and they were runners-up in the Super Cup of the Croatian League as well. Looking at the team stat, Hajduk Split had the highest amount of goals with 83. Dinamo Zagreb had the highest amount of points per game, 2.14, and then 1.83. So roughly I can say that this tactic gives you about 1.83 points per game. That's exactly the same number that Brighton and Hove Albion had in the Premier League. Looking at the possession, Hajduk Split actually racked up more possession than Brighton, having 58% possession of the ball. And then looking at AS Monaco in the French League, Monaco went on to finish in 3rd place, and then they had a goal difference of 42. Looking at the competition overall, PSG went on to win the league. We're not going to pay attention to them right now. Looking at the team stats, then we can see that most goals was by PSG, 98, and then Monaco came in 2nd place with 85 goals. Most points per game, I hope we don't see 1.83 here. Okay, Monaco went on to have a high amount of points per game, 2.08, so that's quite good. Monaco, I think they were predicted to finish in 3rd place, but they went on to outdo themselves there. Sassuolo and Lazio were the 2 teams in the Serie A that we tested out the tactic with. Sassuolo do have an outstanding game against AC Milan, but as at match day 37 now, Lazio are in position to actually win the league, so they have a game against Napoli. Currently my game still calls them Parthenope. So Lazio are still in top spot, 81 points, just 1 point separating them from Napoli in 2nd place. Looking at the team stats, then we can see that Lazio has the most points per game, 2.19. So it does work for certain teams as opposed to other teams. The most goals was by Lazio, so Lazio went on to do well than most of the other teams that we've seen with this tactic test. They had 93 goals, and then Napoli are right in there in 2nd place with 20 less goals than Lazio went on to rack up. Looking at the possession, Sassuolo and Lazio were in 5th and 6th respectively with 56 and 55% possession. So to some degree, the tactic goes on to actually dominate possession if you're using the right team, if you're testing it with the right team. Now the last team on our list is Lech Poznan in Poland. Yeah, this is the Polish league. Yes, so Lech Poznan actually went on to win the league with 90 points, but I expected them to win the league. I know they are predicted to finish at maybe 2nd or 3rd, but because the Polish league is quite closely balanced, I expected that a team that even predicted to finish in 4th place could go on to win the league. So that's why Lech Poznan actually went on to do that. They were knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League, and the Polish FA Cup, they went on to win that. They won the Polish Super Cup as well. And looking at the teams that they had the highest points per game that we've seen in the entire test, which is 2.65, and the most goals as well, 102 goals in the league alone. Looking at most possession, Lech Poznan are in there with 2nd place, or they're in there in 2nd with 60% average possession throughout the entire league. And then the fewest conceded was by Pochon and Rakau. Slask is there, and then Lech Poznan is in 4th place with 30 goals conceded. So let's unbox the tactic and see how well it actually racks up, or see the detail behind the tactic. Like I mentioned, it was created by my friend DawidPL. The name of the tactic is GOLEADOR. That probably means something in Polish, I don't know. But Dawid's tactic goes on to be a 4-1-4-1 system, like I mentioned, with inverted fullbacks and ball playing defenders. And then there are 2 inverted wingers as well, and then advanced playmakers in the number 10 role. 2 advanced playmakers, both of them playing on support. That's something I don't really see very often. That's kind of how I like this tactic. So for his sweeper keeper, Dawid goes for a sweeper keeper on support DT with no instructions attached to him, just the default sweeper keeper instruction in take more risks. The inverted wing backs are both on support DT and they have identical instructions. They've been asked to shoot less often, get further forward, tackle harder, and mark tighter. I'm going to go through all the instructions in detail so you can try to recreate the tactic for yourself. If you have the time to do that, you can actually follow along with the video and do that. And by the way, if you've not subscribed to the channel, remember to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when Football Manager tactic testing videos do come out here on the channel. I'm going to share overpowered tactics for you in the coming days on the channel, in the coming weeks as well. The ball playing defenders on defend duty now, they have been asked to dribble more and then tackle harder. Often I see that the ball playing defenders sometimes can be asked to stay wider. I really don't understand why that is the case and how it works in Football Manager, but it does. But this time Dawid actually goes on to just ask them to dribble more and to tackle harder. The defensive midfielder on support duty is just the defensive midfielder on support duty, and he has been asked to hold his position and tackle harder. The front 5 include an inverted winger on attack duty, or 2 inverted wingers on attack on both sides, and both inverted wingers have been asked to cross more often, shoot less often, and tackle harder. Your number 10s are 2 advanced playmakers on support duty, and they also have identical instructions. They have been asked to cross more often, move into channels, and tackle harder. Your front 9, your main striker is an advanced forward on attack duty, and he has been asked to tackle harder. Just that. Now moving over to the team instructions then. First of all, the mentality. The general mentality for this tactic is attacking, but from my experience in Football Manager, you could dangle around between balance and attacking mentality or defensive mentality if you're struggling to actually stop conceding goals, if you're struggling to defend goals. But as Dawid created this tactic, it's basically an attacking mentality attached to the tactic. So that's what I'm going to go for. That's what I'm going to leave it as. I'm not editing the tactic in any way. In possession, the team has been asked to exploit the left and the right flank and look for the overlap on both flanks as well. The approach play includes the passing to space option, while the team has been asked to play with a shorter passing directness and a very high tempo. In the final third, the team has been asked to hit early crosses and play the crosses on the ground, that's low crosses, and then they've also been asked to dribble a lot more, which is run at the defense instruction. Now in transition, the team has been asked to counter press and to counter, and the goalkeeper has been instructed to distribute the ball quickly and roll the ball out. Now when we're out of possession, the team has been asked to play with a high press, with a higher line of engagement, and then the high defensive line as well. The trigger press has been set to much more often trigger press, and then prevent short goalkeeper distribution. This has been turned on, and I understand that because there's a lot of players in here. There's in fact 5 players in front, so preventing the short goalkeeper distribution is quite reasonable. You do have the numbers up front to actually press the opposition from the defense and win the ball back from them. The tackling has also been set to get stuck in, and then the team will aggressively try to win the ball back from the opposition by any means necessary. Now Dawid went on to add set piece instructions to this tactic, so there's a set piece routine attached to it. So we're going to look at the corner routines. You can see the galore R corner. It has the striker standing on the near post and then nobody locking around the near post. So this is something quite new from the normal set piece routines that I'm used to, and it's going to be interesting to see how well that works out in this case. Looking at the left side is the same thing for the set piece, and then for the defending set pieces, this is the way it's set up. Nobody's really starting the counter attacks. It's primarily to try and defend the corners. You have on the left and on the right hand side pretty much the same thing. You can go about setting up your set pieces like this. This is the way it is set up in this GOLEADOR tactic. For throwings, I think there's also a throwing setup. So defensively, not much, but in attack, there's a throwing routine. On the left hand side, this is the way the throwings are set up. There's a few players in the box and then a few players coming short, and then the throw is actually decided to be a quick throw. So on the right hand side, this is the way it is. Quick throw as well, few players in the box and then few players coming short. The attacking midfielders are actually coming short. So in case you're playing a different Football Manager game from Football Manager 2023, you can follow along with the video and try to recreate the tactic for yourself and see how it works out for you in your game. I'm also going to attach a link in the description so you can download this tactic as it is and then try it out for your Football Manager 2023. I recently did a deep dive into the hidden truth behind Football Manager 2023 mentalities. You can watch that video next, immediately after this one. It may change your perception of Football Manager mentalities going forward. And with that, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.